The final hour before sleep often keeps a quieter record than the rest of the day. It remembers the words you repeated when no one else was listening. It remembers the small judgments you made about yourself while brushing your teeth, putting away a cup, turning off a lamp, or checking one last message. It remembers the way your body tightened when you thought about a bill. It remembers the sentence that passed through your mind when someone else seemed to be doing better. It remembers whether you ended the day feeling supported by life or apologizing for taking up space in it. Nothing dramatic has to happen for that record to be made. The mind learns through repetition, tone, and familiarity. A thought does not need to be shouted to become influential. It only needs to be rehearsed often enough that it starts to feel like a fact. You may have repeated certain thoughts for so long that you no longer hear them clearly. I have to be careful. There is never quite enough. I should not ask for more. Other people need it more than I do. I can rest when everything is finally handled. It is safer not to expect too much. These sentences can pass through your day without introducing themselves. They appear as caution. They sound responsible. They may even sound mature. Yet beneath them, there can be an old fear asking you to stay small so disappointment cannot find you. The hidden pattern is not always greed, carelessness, or lack of discipline. Very often, it is protection. You learn to protect yourself from wanting. You learn to lower your expectations before life could lower them for you. You learn to call worry preparation. You learn to call self-denial wisdom. You learn to call exhaustion responsibility. You may have become so skilled at bracing for what could go wrong that letting something good move toward you now feels sad, strangely unfamiliar. The unfamiliar is not automatically unsafe. Still, the nervous system often confuses the two. A calmer season can feel suspicious when tension has been your normal. Support can feel uncomfortable when you have spent years proving that you can manage alone. A compliment can feel hard to accept when criticism shaped your inner language. An opportunity can create fear when you are accustomed to preparing for loss. You may say that you want improvement, ease, stability, and room to breathe. A deeper part of you may still be whispering, "Do not trust it." That does not make you difficult. It does not make you ungrateful. It does not mean that something is wrong with your character. It means part of you learned that vigilance was useful, and it has not yet understood that it no longer needs to control every doorway. You can want a better life and still flinch when it begins to ask you to expand. You can hope for support and still deflect it when it arrives. You can long for more ease and still fill every open space with another task. You can say you are ready while choosing only what feels familiar. This inner conflict is more common than you think. It can show up when you check your balance with held breath, even when you already know what you will see. It can show up when you delay opening an envelope because the feeling in your chest seems heavier than the information inside. It can show up when you undercharge for work, then tell yourself you are being kind. It can show up when you apologize for naming a fair price. It can show up when someone offers assistance, and your first response is to insist that you are fine. It can show up when you receive something generous and immediately begin calculating how to repay it. It can show up when an ordinary purchase brings more guilt than pleasure. It can show up when you postpone replacing something you genuinely need because endurance has become part of your identity. It can show up when joy is always scheduled for later, later when things settle, later when you have earned it, later when everyone else is okay, later when you are certain nothing unexpected will happen. The trouble is that life rarely offers perfect certainty. When you make certainty the price of peace, peace becomes almost impossible to afford. You may not recognize the pattern because it does not always look like fear. Sometimes it looks like discipline without tenderness. Sometimes it looks like constant research without a decision. Sometimes it looks like planning without movement. Sometimes it looks like refusing every risk, even the thoughtful ones. Sometimes it looks like saying you are waiting for the right time when you are really waiting to feel no discomfort at all. Growth usually carries some discomfort, not because growth is punishment, but because the mind likes what it knows. Even an old limitation can feel safer than a new possibility when the limitation is familiar. You may have lived with a neat private rule for years. Do not reach until you are sure you cannot fail. That rule can keep you studying after you are ready. It can keep you polishing after the work is complete. It can keep you waiting for permission from people who are not living your life. It can keep you asking for less than you need. It can keep you silent in rooms where your voice belongs. It can make you mistake hesitation for humility. Real humility does not require you to disappear. You can be grounded and visible. You can be thoughtful and well compensated. You can care about others and still protect your own needs. You can be grateful for what you have without making gratitude an excuse to refuse growth. Gratitude says, I value this. Fear says, I must never ask for anything beyond this. Those are not the same. You are permitted to appreciate the present while building a steadier future. You are permitted to make room for more support without insulting what has already carried you. You are permitted to change your relationship with effort. Effort can be meaningful, but suffering is not proof of worth. Struggle may have shaped you, but it does not have to remain your permanent language. Some people feel safest only when they are solving a problem. They know who they are in crisis. They become focused, useful, alert, and needed. When things become calm, they do not always feel relief. They may begin scanning for the next difficulty because their identity has been tied to managing pressure. You may recognize a piece of yourself in that. Perhaps calm once meant that something bad was about to happen. Perhaps good news was often followed by a warning. Perhaps celebration was interrupted by reminders not to get too comfortable. Perhaps the adults around you believed that expecting less prevented pain. Perhaps you were praised for never needing much. Perhaps you learned that being easy to care for made you easier to love. A child can turn a passing message into a lifelong rule. Do not be a burden. Do not waste. Do not want too much. Do not trust comfort. Do not let anyone see that you need help. Do not relax. These rules may have formed long before you had the language to question them. You did not sit down and choose them. You absorbed them from faces, silences, arguments, warnings, sacrifices, and hard seasons. You learned from what was said at kitchen tables. You learned from the way adults reacted to bills. You learned from who was allowed to spend and who was expected to go without. You learned from the tone used when someone asked for help. You learned from the tension that entered a room when a cost was mentioned. You learned from the praise given to people who tolerated too much. You learned from the suspicion directed toward people who seemed comfortable. You learned from stories about loss. You learned from comments about people who had more. You learned from the fear that followed every unexpected expense. None of this requires blame. The people around you were often repeating what they had been taught. They may have been trying to survive. They may have believed worry would keep the family safe. They may have confused control with care. They may have offered caution because they had known instability. They may have loved you deeply while passing on ideas that no longer serve you. Love and limitation can arrive through the same voice. Understanding this helps you separate compassion from obedience. You can respect what others endured without continuing every rule they created in response to it. You can honor their effort without inheriting their fear as your future. You can say, "This helped them through a difficult time, and it does not need to govern me now." That is not rejection, it is maturity. A belief formed in hardship often becomes invisible when the hardship ends. The circumstances may change, but the inner command remains. Keep holding back. Keep expecting less. Keep checking for danger. Keep proving that you can survive with very little. Then a new opportunity appears, and the old command interprets it through the past. A fairer rate feels risky. Rest feels undeserved. Support feels like debt. A new role feels like exposure. A useful purchase feels irresponsible. A conversation about payment feels shameful. The situation is new, but the emotional response belongs to another time. This is why self-criticism rarely creates lasting change. You cannot shame an old protection into feeling safe. You cannot insult yourself into openness. You cannot build trust by speaking to yourself in the voice that first taught you fear. You need a new relationship with your own inner language. Not false excitement, not denial, not pretending that every challenge has disappeared. You need honesty with kindness. You need a sentence your body does not have to fight. You need words that acknowledge where you are while making room for where you are going. This work does not require you to claim that everything is perfect. It does not ask you to ignore real obligations. It does not ask you to believe that repeating a phrase will replace planning, skill, work, or support. Affirmations can help shape attention, self-talk, confidence, and readiness. They can help you practice a more constructive response. They are not financial advice, and they do not erase real pressure. Real pressure deserves real steps, clear information, and qualified guidance when needed. There is dignity in asking for help. There is wisdom in learning. There is strength in looking directly at numbers instead of letting fear turn them into shadows. A supportive mindset does not replace action. It helps you meet action with less panic and more steadiness. The aim is not to become careless. The aim is to stop using fear as your only form of responsibility. You can be careful without being consumed. You can plan without predicting disaster. You can save without treating every pleasure as a threat. You can ask questions without feeling ashamed of what you do not know. You can make a mistake without making it your identity. You can face a difficult fact without turning against yourself. This is where change begins. Not with a grand promise, not with a performance. It begins when you become willing to hear the sentence beneath the behavior. You may think the problem is that you keep postponing an important decision. Underneath, the sentence may be, "I do not trust myself." You may think the problem is that you cannot accept help. Underneath, the sentence may be, "Support always comes with a cost." You may think the problem is that you feel guilty after spending on something necessary. Underneath, the sentence may be, "My needs are dangerous." You may think the problem is that you keep underestimating your work. Underneath, the sentence may be, "Being valued will make people leave." You may think the problem is that you cannot enjoy what you have. Underneath, the sentence may be, "Relaxing invites loss." The behavior makes more sense when you hear the sentence. Compassion becomes possible. Choice becomes possible. A hidden rule can run your life only while it remains unquestioned. Once you hear it, you can begin to answer it. You do not have to answer with force. A quiet correction is enough. My needs are not a threat. Support can be clean. I can learn to trust myself. Rest does not create danger. Being valued does not make me selfish. These are not magic statements. They are new directions. Each one turns your attention toward a different response. That response may be small at first. You open the envelope, you look at the number, you ask the question, you name the rate. You wait before automatically refusing help. You replace the item you have been struggling without. You let an ordinary pleasure remain ordinary instead of putting it on trial. You speak to yourself respectfully after a mistake. These moments matter because beliefs steer more than thought. They influence what you notice. They influence what you dismiss. They influence what you expect from yourself. They influence whether you prepare for an opportunity or talk yourself out of it. They influence whether you ask for clarity. They influence whether you keep learning after embarrassment. They influence whether you interpret a delay as information or as proof that nothing works for you. A belief is not a command from the universe. It is a practiced lens. Change the lens and your options become easier to see. You may still face the same facts, but you meet them differently. A calmer mind can read more clearly. A steadier body can stay present in a hard conversation. A kinder inner voice can recover faster from a setback. A stronger sense of worth can support better boundaries. A more honest relationship with need can make it easier to seek useful guidance. These shifts are practical. They are modest. They are powerful because they change what happens downstream. You are not trying to force life to obey you. You are learning to stop abandoning yourself while life unfolds. There is a difference. You may have spent years waiting to feel completely confident before acting. Confidence often grows after a respectful action, not before it. You may have waited to feel worthy before accepting support. Worth is not a mood you must produce. You may have waited until fear disappeared. Fear may become quieter only after you show yourself that you can move without letting it lead. The first new step does not need to be impressive. It needs to be yours. A clear look, a fair question, a calm no, an honest yes, a moment of staying with yourself. You are not behind because this pattern took time to see. You are seeing it now. That matters. Awareness is not a punishment. It is the moment the old rule stops being invisible. You can look at it without hatred. You can understand why it formed. You can thank it for what it tried to prevent. You can decide it is no longer qualified to choose your future. Tonight, when the quiet record begins again, you do not need to review every failure. You do not need to rehearse every fear. You do not need to turn the last hour into a courtroom. You can let it become a place where a new truth is entered calmly. I am learning to meet good things without fear. You do not have to force yourself to believe it fully. You can begin by becoming willing. Willingness is enough for now. The old sentence was learned. A new sentence can be learned too. There is a moment at the beginning of the day when you meet yourself before the rest of the world has had a chance to speak. It may happen in a narrow hallway. The house is still. The light is pale. Your steps are quiet. You pass the familiar mirror without expecting anything from it, and there you are. The first face it shows you is your own, before the messages, before the demands, before the unfinished work finds you, before you remember what must be paid, answered, solved, or carried. Your own eyes are there, your own expression, your own presence waiting to be recognized. Many people move through this moment without truly meeting themselves. They glance only long enough to search for what seems wrong. A tired face, a line that was not there before, hair that will not settle, clothes that do not feel quite right, a body compared with another body, a face measured against an old photograph. The mirror becomes a place of correction, before the day has even begun. You may stand there and speak no words aloud, yet the conversation has already started. You look tired. You are falling behind. You should be further along. You need to work harder. You cannot afford to slow down. You do not look ready. You are not doing enough. These words can arrive so quickly that they seem less like speech and more like atmosphere. You may not even agree with them consciously. Still, you hear them. The face looking back hears them too. That face belongs to the person who will make today's choices, the person who will answer the email, the person who will decide whether to ask for fair treatment, the person who will speak during the meeting or remain silent, the person who will consider an opportunity, the person who will look at an account, make a plan, request help, learn a skill, or avoid the next step. The first conversation matters because it helps set the emotional posture from which those choices are made. The mirror does not create your future. Your reflection does not summon outcomes. Words are not substitutes for skill or action. Yet the way you greet yourself can influence the way you carry yourself into the hours ahead. A person who begins the day under attack spends energy defending against their own voice. A person who begins with respect has more of that energy available for the day itself. This is not vanity. It is relationship. You are in a relationship with the person in that glass. You live with that person through every decision. You hear that person's thoughts during uncertainty. You depend on that person's courage when something must be faced. You depend on that person's patience when progress is slow. You depend on that person's honesty when a choice needs to change. You depend on that person's care when life becomes difficult. The mirror only makes the relationship visible. It stands quietly in the hallway. It does not argue. It does not accuse. It does not decide who deserves kindness. It reflects what is brought before it. You may have used it for years as a checkpoint. Is everything acceptable? Will anyone criticize me? Do I look successful enough? Do I seem tired? Can I hide what I feel? Will I be approved of? The face in the glass becomes something to prepare for other people. You adjust it. You arrange it. You inspect it. You try to make it safe for the world. Yet beneath all that preparation is a deeper question. Will you be safe with yourself? Will you meet your own eyes and stay? Will you speak as though the person before you matters even when no one else is present? Will you offer respect before achievement? Will you offer dignity before proof? Will you refuse to make kindness dependent on the day's results? This is where the hallway mirror begins to teach you. It shows you how quickly the inner voice reaches for judgment. It reveals the standards you have been using. It reveals whose tone still lives inside your sentences. It reveals whether you speak to yourself as a burden, a problem, a project, or a human being worthy of companionship. Nothing needs to be hidden here. You can admit that the old voice has been harsh. You can admit that it believed harshness would keep you motivated. You can admit that criticism once felt like preparation. You can admit that you were afraid kindness would make you lazy, careless, or unrealistic. Many people were taught that pressure produces excellence. They were told to focus on flaws, so those flaws would not become visible to anyone else. They were taught to correct themselves before the world could do it. They learned to arrive at the mirror already braced. This habit can move far beyond appearance. It can shape the way you evaluate your work. You see what is missing before you see what is useful. You see the distance left before you see the distance traveled. You see the imperfect detail before you see the whole thing you completed. You see another person's progress and use it as evidence against your own. You treat your life as though it is always being inspected. Then good things can feel difficult to accept because acceptance would require you to stop the inspection for a moment. Praise arrives and you correct it. You did well, someone says. You answer, it was nothing. You deserve this, someone says. You answer, I was just lucky. Let us help, someone says. You answer, I should be able to handle it. There is a place for humility. There is also a habit of erasing yourself. The mirror helps you see the difference. Humility does not require denial. You can acknowledge effort without claiming superiority. You can accept appreciation without turning it into arrogance. You can accept support without becoming dependent on approval. You can admit that you contributed something meaningful. You can let a kind word land. You can let your own kind word land too. At first, this may feel unnatural. You may look into your own eyes and find that your attention tries to escape. You may feel embarrassed even though you are alone. You may think the practice is too small to matter. You may hear an old voice say that there are more serious things to do. That reaction is not proof that the practice has no value. It shows you how unfamiliar self-respect has become. You are not required to perform. You do not need a perfect expression. You do not need to sound inspired. You do not need to persuade yourself that every door is open. You are not standing before the mirror to make a claim about circumstances you cannot control. You are standing there to decide what kind of voice will accompany you through them. The words need to be honest enough to remain with you. They need to be steady enough to support action. They need to leave room for growth. They need to respect reality without worshiping fear. A useful sentence does not demand that you deny the past. It helps you stop giving the past the first word every day. You may have begun many mornings by reviewing what has not happened, the payment not yet received, the goal not yet reached, the answer not yet given, the change not yet visible, the opportunity that went elsewhere, the mistake you wish you could redo. The mind can gather these unfinished things and place them before your reflection as though they are your identity. They are not. They are events, conditions, delays, decisions, and lessons. They may be important. They may require attention. They do not get to define the worth of the face in the glass. The mirror can hold the image of a person still learning, a person correcting course, a person rebuilding confidence, a person making a practical plan, a person facing what once felt too difficult, a person becoming more honest, a person becoming less afraid of their own needs, a person learning not to treat every desire as evidence of selfishness. You do not need to look accomplished to be worthy of respect. You do not need to look certain to be worthy of encouragement. You do not need to have solved everything to be spoken to with care. The hallway is not a stage. There is no audience. No one is scoring the moment. It is only you and the face you have carried through every season of your life. That face has been present for every hard conversation. It has appeared in mirrors after disappointments. It has looked back at you during beginnings. It has carried worry. It has carried hope. It has changed. It has remained yours. How many times has that face been greeted only with correction? How many mornings have begun with a list of what must improve? How many times have you walked away from your own reflection without saying anything that helped? You cannot change those mornings. You can change the next greeting. You can let the first words be different. Not grand, not dramatic, not disconnected from what you actually feel. Different enough to interrupt the old record. Different enough to remind you that your identity is larger than today's pressure. Different enough to place dignity before demand. The new sentence can begin here. I greet the good before fear speaks for me. Let the words remain uncomplicated. I greet the good before fear speaks for me. You are not claiming that fear will never speak. You are choosing that it will not always speak first. I greet the good before fear speaks for me. This sentence does not promise a particular outcome. It does not guarantee ease. It does not ask life to obey your timetable. It teaches you to meet possibility without immediately rehearsing loss. It teaches you to pause before dismissing support. It teaches you to question the reflex that turns every opening into a threat. It teaches you to offer yourself another interpretation. Good can mean a clear id, EA. Good can mean useful information. Good can mean the courage to ask a necessary question. Good can mean recognizing a limit. Good can mean an honest conversation. Good can mean finding a person with the right expertise. Good can mean ending a habit that keeps draining you. Good can mean beginning again with more knowledge. Good can mean a calmer response to the same numbers. Good can mean seeing an option that panic kept hidden. Good can mean accepting that your work has value. Good can mean letting a compliment stand without correcting it. Good can mean taking a practical next step before you feel completely ready. The sentence does not ask you to predict which form the good will take. It asks you to stop rejecting every helpful movement before you have looked at it clearly. Fear often speaks in absolutes. This will fail. You cannot handle it. There is no point. It is too late. You will regret it. No one will help. You should not need help. You will lose what you have. The new voice does not need to answer with another absolute. It can answer with grounded openness. I can examine this carefully. I can ask for more information. I can take time before deciding. I can seek qualified guidance. I can protect my boundaries. I can learn. I can say no. I can say yes. I can make one clear choice. The aim is not to make you less discerning. It is to make discernment possible. Fear rushes. Discernment looks. Fear assumes. Discernment asks. Fear turns one disappointment into a permanent forecast. Discernment separates what happened from what could happen next. Fear makes the hallway mirror into a warning sign. Discernment lets it become a meeting place. When you stand before your reflection, you can begin to see the difference between an alarm and a fact. Your body may feel tense. That is real. The conclusion attached to the tension may not be. You may feel uncertain. That is real. The idea that uncertainty means failure may not be. You may feel behind. That feeling is real. The claim that you have missed every chance may not be. You may feel guilty about wanting greater stability. That guilt is real. The claim that wanting stability makes you selfish is not a truth you have to keep. The mirror lets you see the person carrying the feeling. You can address the person instead of obeying the feeling. You can say, I know this is uncomfortable. You can say, we will look at it carefully. You can say, you do not have to disappear. You can say, your needs can be named. You can say, we can make a plan without turning against ourselves. These words may feel modest compared with the pressure you carry. Modest words can still change the quality of a moment. A supportive sentence may help you stay in front of the document long enough to understand it. It may help you ask a second question instead of nodding in confusion. It may help you stop apologizing before naming a price. It may help you wait before giving an automatic discount. It may help you recognize when generosity has become self-neglect. It may help you tell the truth about what you can and cannot carry. The hallway mirror does not need to become a place where you repeat endless claims. One clear sentence can be enough to change the direction of the greeting. You look into your own eyes. You see tiredness if tiredness is there. You see uncertainty if uncertainty is there. You do not pretend. You do not criticize. You let the person before you be real. Then you say, I greet the good before fear speaks for me. If that feels too far from where you are, use a bridge. I am becoming willing to greet the good before fear speaks for me. The bridge does not weaken the practice. It makes the practice honest. You are not required to leap from distrust into certainty. You can move from refusal into willingness, from bracing into curiosity, from self-attack into respect, from avoidance into one practical look, from silence into one clear question, from automatic no into thoughtful consideration. Willingness is movement. It creates a small opening between the old rule and the next choice. Inside that opening, you can respond differently. The old rule may say that every offer has a hidden cost. Willingness asks, what are the actual terms? The old rule may say that you must do everything alone. Willingness asks, what kind of support would be appropriate? The old rule may say that asking for fair value will drive people away. Willingness asks, what is honest and sustainable? The old rule may say that you do not deserve rest until every problem is gone. Willingness asks, what kind of rest would help me think more clearly? The old rule may say that one error proves you cannot be trusted. Willingness asks, what did this teach me? This is how a sentence moves from the mirror into life. It becomes a question. The question becomes a pause. The pause becomes a choice. The choice becomes evidence. The evidence begins to build a new relationship with yourself. You do not need hundreds of perfect days. You need repeated moments of not abandoning your own side. A morning when you do not insult your reflection. A conversation when you do not reduce your value before anyone asks. A decision when you gather facts rather than obeying panic. A purchase when you distinguish between care and guilt. A request when you let your need be visible. A mistake when you correct it without humiliation. Each moment tells the face in the mirror, I can stay with you. That message reaches deeper than praise. Praise depends on what went well. Staying is a vow about how you will meet yourself even when something goes wrong. You can appreciate success. You can celebrate progress. You can be glad when a plan works. You can also refuse to withdraw all kindness when it does not. The relationship must be strong enough for both. Otherwise, every decision becomes a test of worth. Every result becomes a verdict. Every delay becomes a personal rejection. Every difficult season becomes evidence that you have failed. You are more than the latest result. You are the person deciding how to respond to it. The mirror can remind you of that each day. Not by flattering you, by returning you to yourself. You enter the hallway carrying yesterday's record. You may have gone to bed rehearsing worry. You may have awakened with the same thoughts already waiting. The mirror catches you before the day gathers speed. There is the face. There is the old sentence. There is the chance to speak first. You do not need to erase everything you felt the night before. You can acknowledge it. Yesterday was heavy. I am still here. I made mistakes. I can learn. I feel uncertain. I can gather facts. I am tired. I can choose one useful step. I am afraid of disappointment. I do not have to reject every possibility. This kind of self-talk is not decorative. It is preparation. It helps create the emotional condition for responsible movement. A mind under constant accusation has less room for creative thought. A body expecting punishment has more difficulty staying open during challenge. A person who feels ashamed may avoid the very information that would help. Respect makes it easier to remain present. Presence makes it easier to see. Seeing makes it easier to choose. This is the quiet mechanics of change. You meet yourself differently. You interpret the moment differently. You act from that interpretation. You learn from what follows. The new experience gives the mind something else to record. Over time, the face in the glass becomes less like a stranger awaiting judgment. It becomes the face of someone you know how to support. You may begin to recognize courage there, not dramatic courage. The courage to open what you avoided, the courage to say what you need, the courage to learn something new, the courage to admit that an old approach no longer works, the courage to ask someone qualified for help, the courage to stop confusing shame with accountability, the courage to make a practical change, the courage to accept that a better relationship with yourself may feel unfamiliar before it feels natural. The mirror will still show ordinary mornings. Some days you will feel strong, some days you will not. Some days the sentence will come easily. Some days the old voice will reach the hallway first. This does not mean the work has failed. You are not being tested on perfect consistency. You are building a more reliable return. When you catch the old criticism, return. When you hear the old forecast, return. When you dismiss yourself, return. When fear speaks first, answer. I greet the good before fear speaks for me. The face in the mirror does not need punishment for forgetting. It needs practice. It needs patience. It needs language that can survive an imperfect day. It needs to know that one hard morning will not cancel the relationship you are building. You can begin again at noon. You can begin again after a difficult call. You can begin again while washing your hands in another mirror. You can begin again before sending the message. The hallway is useful because it gives the practice a place. A place makes a new habit easier to remember. You pass the glass. You meet your eyes. You speak before the old script takes over. No ceremony is needed, no performance, only recognition, only honesty, only a new first word. You may find that the sentence begins to follow you beyond the hallway, at the desk, in the car, at the shop, during a conversation, while reviewing a plan. When an unexpected cost appears, when an opportunity asks more courage from you than you expected, the mirror is no longer in front of you, but the greeting remains. You become the person who can offer it anywhere. I greet the good before fear speaks for me. There is room in this sentence for caution. There is room for boundaries. There is room for careful thought. There is room for a clear no. There is also room for hope that does not need to prove itself in advance. Hope can be responsible. Openness can be discerning. Kindness can be practical. Self-respect can live beside wise planning. You do not have to choose between being grounded and being encouraged. You can be both. The person in the mirror can be both. Still learning, still worthy, still cautious, still open, still carrying old memories, still choosing a new greeting. That is how the first words begin to change. Not through force, through fidelity. You keep meeting yourself. You keep telling the truth with care. You keep refusing to make fear the only voice that sounds responsible. You keep teaching your reflection that good does not have to be distrusted before it is understood. The hallway remains the same. The glass remains the same. The face may look nearly the same from one day to the next. The greeting changes. Then the posture changes. Then a question changes. Then a choice changes. Then the record changes. A new life is rarely built in one grand moment. It is built in repeated moments when you stop handing the first word to the voice that expects loss. You see yourself. You stay. You speak. You walk forward with a different sentence beside you. The old voice may not disappear just because you have chosen a kinder greeting. It may wait beside the mirror. It may speak the moment you try to accept something good. It may ask whether you have earned it. It may remind you of someone who has less. It may warn you not to become too comfortable. It may insist that wanting greater steadiness means you are ungrateful for what you already have. This voice often sounds moral. That is why it can be difficult to question. It does not always say, "You are afraid." It says, "Be reasonable. Do not get ahead of yourself. Do not take more than your share. Do not make anyone uncomfortable. Do not think too highly of what you offer. Do not relax yet." You may have mistaken these instructions for goodness. You may have believed that being a caring person required you to reduce your own needs. You may have confused humility with hiding. You may have confused generosity with having no limits. You may have confused loyalty with carrying what was never yours to carry. You may have confused responsibility with permanent tension. The face in the glass can help you separate these things. You can look directly at yourself and ask whether the rule you are following is truly kind. Kindness does not ask you to disappear. Kindness does not require resentment. Kindness does not demand that you keep giving after honesty has told you to stop. Kindness does not turn your body, time, attention, or work into an unlimited resource. A choice can look generous from the outside and still be rooted in fear. You say yes because you are afraid of being disliked. You lower the price because you are afraid of being judged. You solve the problem before anyone asks because you are afraid your place depends on usefulness. You refuse assistance because you are afraid of owing something. You postpone your own needs because you are afraid someone will call you selfish. The action may appear noble. The feeling beneath it is often strain. Your reflection knows the difference. It shows the tiredness after another automatic yes. It shows the tightness around your mouth when you have agreed to something you cannot sustain. It shows the distance in your eyes when you have once again treated your own needs as an interruption. You may have become skilled at smiling through that distance. You may tell yourself that this is what strong people do. Strength is not the ability to ignore every signal. Strength also means listening before exhaustion has to shout. It means naming a limit before resentment hardens. It means telling the truth before an arrangement becomes impossible. It means letting your care include you. This can feel uncomfortable when you have spent years measuring your worth by how little trouble you cause. The first time you name a fair boundary, you may feel guilty. The first time you do not explain yourself for several paragraphs, you may feel rude. The first time you accept help without immediately returning the favor, you may feel exposed. The first time you let appreciation stand, you may feel as though you have taken something that does not belong to you. Discomfort is not always evidence that a choice is wrong. Sometimes it is evidence that the choice is new. The mirror greeting prepares you for this. I greet the good before fear speaks for me. Good may arrive as a boundary you finally respect. Good may arrive as a clearer agreement. Good may arrive as a question you were once too embarrassed to ask. Good may arrive as the recognition that your current way of working cannot continue. Good may arrive as the courage to seek practical guidance. Good may arrive as a calm review of what is actually happening. Good may arrive as an answer you did not hope for but needed to hear. Not every good thing feels pleasant at first. Clarity can sting. A limit can disappoint someone. Unnecessary change can unsettle familiar relationships. A realistic plan can ask you to face numbers you have avoided. The deeper good is not always immediate comfort. Sometimes it is the return of self-trust. You begin to believe that you can look at what is real without collapsing into shame. You begin to believe that you can make a correction without calling yourself a failure. You begin to believe that asking for help does not erase your competence. You begin to believe that another person's reaction does not define the fairness of your boundary. You begin to believe that you can choose from dignity instead of fear. These shifts do not happen because the mirror flatters you. They happen because the mirror becomes a place where you stop lying against yourself. You stop saying you are fine when you are overwhelmed. You stop saying it does not matter when it does. You stop saying you do not need support when you do. You stop saying the work was easy when it cost you time, thought, and care. You stop saying you will deal with it later when postponement is creating more pressure. Honesty is not harshness. It is a clean reflection. A clean reflection does not enlarge the flaw. It does not hide it. It shows what is there. From there, you can decide. You can adjust a plan. You can learn what you need to learn. You can speak with someone qualified. You can organize documents. You can ask for clearer terms. You can choose a slower pace. You can end an arrangement. You can begin again. The old voice may say that facing reality will make you feel worse. Avoidance often promises temporary relief. It rarely provides lasting peace. A fact seen clearly is usually easier to work with than a fear imagined endlessly. You do not have to solve everything in the same hour. You only need to stop making yourself the enemy of the process. You can stand before your reflection and say, "We are going to look at this without cruelty." That sentence changes the posture. Your shoulders may lower. Your breath may become less guarded. Your eyes may stay with your own eyes a little longer. You are no longer sending yourself into the day as a defendant. You are meeting yourself as a partner. A partner can acknowledge a problem. A partner can expect responsibility. A partner can also remain respectful. You may have believed that self-respect had to be earned through perfect choices. Yet perfect choices are impossible when information is incomplete, emotions are involved, and life changes. You will sometimes misjudge. You will sometimes wait too long. You will sometimes act too quickly. You will sometimes trust the wrong person. You will sometimes underestimate a cost. You will sometimes overestimate what you can carry. You will sometimes need to revise what you thought was certain. None of this makes respect unnecessary. It makes respect essential. A person who is humiliated after every error becomes afraid to look closely. A person who is treated with steadiness can learn. Your inner voice can create one of those conditions. It can make the mirror a place you avoid. Or it can make the mirror a place where you return to honesty. You are not trying to admire every decision. You are learning not to abandon the decision maker. That distinction matters. You can say, "That choice did not serve me." You do not have to say, "I ruin everything." You can say, "I need more information." You do not have to say, "I should already know this." You can say, "I agreed too quickly." You do not have to say, "I have no backbone." You can say, "I ignored my limit." You do not have to say, "I am weak." You can say, "I need a different plan." You do not have to say, "I have failed at life." The first statement leaves room for action. The second turns a moment into an identity. The hallway mirror can become the place where you practice that separation. What happened is not who you are. What you feel is not the whole truth. What you learned in a hard season is not automatically the rule for every season. What another person expected from you is not a permanent contract. What you once accepted is not what you must keep accepting. Your reflection remains while many circumstances change. It has seen old roles fall away. It has seen relationships shift. It has seen work begin and end. It has seen plans change shape. It has seen you survive days that once seemed impossible to face. The face is not untouched by those seasons. It carries them. Still, it is not limited to them. You can look at that face and recognize continuity without declaring sameness. You are the same person. You are not required to make the same choice. This is especially important when support comes near. Support can activate old memories. You may remember help that was later used against you. You may remember gifts that created obligation. You may remember being reminded of everything someone had done for you. You may remember needing something and being made to feel ashamed. You may remember promises that were withdrawn. It makes sense that one part of you became cautious. Caution is not a flaw. It becomes restrictive only when it assumes that every offer is identical to the past. You can examine support. You can ask what is expected. You can read the terms. You can take time. You can decline. You can accept. You can remain discerning without refusing all care. The new greeting does not say, "Trust everyone." It says, "Do not let fear answer before you understand what is being offered." There is room between automatic refusal and blind acceptance. That room belongs to you. You can stand there long enough to see clearly. The same is true of appreciation. A kind word may touch an old place that never learned how to be seen without becoming afraid. You may feel the urge to laugh it away. You may point out what could have been better. You may redirect the attention to someone else. You may answer with a joke. You may quickly offer praise in return so you do not have to remain visible. The next time this happens, remember the face in the glass. You do not need to inflate yourself. You can say thank you. 2 words can be a form of inner repair. They let appreciation enter without requiring you to prove anything. They tell your inner world that being seen does not have to end in danger. They teach you that acknowledgement is not arrogance. They teach you that value can be named without comparison. Your work can matter without making someone else's work matter less. Your need can be real without canceling another person's need. Your success can be welcomed without becoming a judgment of anyone else's path. The old voice prefers either/or thinking. If you have more, someone else must have less. If you rest, you are failing. If you charge fairly, you are greedy. If you protect your time, you are uncaring. If you accept support, you are weak. If you want greater stability, you are ungrateful. These conclusions feel simple because they remove complexity. Life is more nuanced. You can care about fairness and care about sustainability. You can be generous and have a clear limit. You can be grateful and seek improvement. You can value cooperation and protect yourself from exploitation. You can appreciate help and remain responsible for your choices. You can desire a calmer relationship with resources without turning that desire into obsession. The face in the mirror can hold more than one truth. You have been strong. You are tired. You are grateful. You need change. You have made progress. You still have work to do. You care about others. You must also care for yourself. You can hold all of this without forcing one truth to erase another. That capacity makes wiser choices possible. When the mind insists on a single harsh conclusion, the reflection can remind you to look again, not to avoid responsibility, to see the whole person. The whole person may be anxious and capable, ertain and learning, disappointed and still moving, afraid and honest, tired and deserving of respect. The whole person does not need to be reduced to the strongest feeling of the day. This matters when you face practical decisions. A fearful mind can treat every choice as irreversible. A respectful mind can ask what can be reviewed. A fearful mind can turn one difficult month into a permanent identity. A respectful mind can look for patterns, options, and expertise. A fearful mind may hide from information because it expects shame. A respectful mind can gather information without turning it into a verdict on character. This is how inner language affects outer behavior, not through magic, through attention, through steadiness, through the willingness to remain present long enough to choose. You may not be able to change every circumstance immediately. You can change whether you insult yourself while responding to it. You can change whether you isolate yourself. You can change whether you ask useful questions. You can change whether you keep repeating an arrangement that drains you. You can change whether you speak honestly about your capacity. You can change whether you make decisions from panic or from clearer thought. This is where the greeting becomes a practice of dignity. It says, I will not begin by assuming that I am the problem. It says, I will look at the situation. It says, I will take responsibility for what belongs to me. It says, I will not take responsibility for what does not. It says, I will stay respectful while I learn. You may need to repeat this through difficult days. The old pattern may return when pressure rises. That does not erase the work. Pressure often reveals the sentence that still needs care. You check the glass and see the familiar tension. You recognize the jaw set against uncertainty. You recognize the eyes already preparing for bad news. You do not criticize the reaction. You meet it. You know why it is there. You know it has been rehearsed for years. You also know that rehearsal can change. I greet the good before fear speaks for me. On a difficult day, the good may be your own honesty. It may be the fact that you opened the document. It may be the fact that you asked for clarification. It may be the fact that you did not agree immediately. It may be the fact that you admitted you need guidance. It may be the fact that you chose a smaller, realistic step. It may be the fact that you did not call yourself names. Do not underestimate these moments. A healthier relationship with yourself is built through ordinary evidence. You show yourself that you can face discomfort without becoming cruel. You show yourself that you can accept support without surrendering discernment. You show yourself that you can name value without boasting. You show yourself that you can make a plan without worshiping fear. You show yourself that you can correct course without destroying your dignity. Each piece of evidence changes the reflection. The physical face may be the same. The meaning you see there begins to shift. At first, you may see someone who must be managed, then someone who is trying, then someone who is learning, then someone who can be trusted with one clear step, then someone who can remain present, then someone who does not need to shrink before asking. This change is quiet. It may not be visible to anyone else. Still, it influences how you enter a room, how you answer, how you listen, how you negotiate, how you recover, how you decide. A person who has stopped arguing against their own worth can use their energy differently. They can listen for information instead of only listening for rejection. They can consider an offer instead of dismissing it from habit. They can hear feedback without turning it into humiliation. They can walk away from terms that do not respect them. They can accept an appropriate opportunity without needing to apologize for being chosen. This does not guarantee outcomes. It creates a healthier position from which to participate. The difference is significant. You are not demanding that every door open. You are deciding not to close every door from the inside before you have looked through the glass. You are not claiming that every path is right for you. You are refusing to call yourself incapable before the path has been examined. You are not expecting life to remove every difficulty. You are strengthening the voice that helps you meet difficulty without self-abandonment. The mirror teaches this through repetition. You pass it. You see yourself. You hear the old line. You choose the new one. The practice can become so ordinary that it no longer feels like an exercise. It becomes the way you greet your own presence. There you are, still worthy of honesty, still worthy of care, still able to choose, still able to ask, still able to learn, still able to repair. You do not need a special expression. You do not need to feel radiant. You do not need to force confidence into your face. You can arrive exactly as you are. The practice is not based on appearance. It is based on recognition. You are here. You matter in the decisions ahead. Your voice matters. Your limits matter. Your needs matter. Your actions matter. Your ability to seek guidance matters. Your willingness to stay beside yourself matters. The old pattern may tell you that this focus is self-centered. Self-respect is not self-absorption. It is the ground from which honest responsibility grows. When you respect yourself, you are more able to admit what you do not know. You are more able to apologize without collapsing. You are more able to hear another person's needs without erasing your own. You are more able to give from choice rather than fear. You are more able to stop when giving is becoming harm. You are more able to make commitments you can keep. This creates cleaner relationships, cleaner agreements, cleaner decisions. The mirror reflects not only a face, but a standard. How will you speak to this person today? What will you ask this person to carry? What will you stop asking this person to tolerate? What truth will you let this person name? What support will you let this person consider? You do not need all the answers at once. One honest answer can change the day. Today, I will not insult myself for needing clarity. Today, I will let a fair compliment stand. Today, I will look at one practical fact. Today, I will ask one necessary question. Today, I will not turn discomfort into a verdict. These are not promises about what will arrive. They are promises about how you will meet yourself. That is where your authority begins, not in controlling every result, in choosing your stance, in choosing your language, in choosing whether fear gets the first word. There may still be tension when you walk away from the glass. There may still be uncertainty. The day may still contain demands. The difference is that you are no longer leaving yourself behind in the hallway. You carry the greeting with you. When guilt appears, you recognize it as an old reaction rather than an unquestionable command. When support appears, you examine it. When appreciation appears, you let it reach you. When a limit appears, you respect it. When a practical step appears, you take it with as much steadiness as you can. When you make an error, you return to the mirror in your mind. You see the face. You refuse the old humiliation. You choose correction. You choose dignity. You choose the next clear action. The good does not always arrive from outside you. Sometimes the good coming toward you is the person in the mirror, finally learning to stand on your side. That change does not make you less responsible. It makes responsibility cleaner. When you stop treating fear as your only guide, you can see more clearly what belongs to you and what does not. You can recognize the difference between care and overextension. You can recognize the difference between caution and refusal. You can recognize the difference between humility and self-erasure. You can recognize the difference between accepting support and surrendering your judgment. This clarity matters because guilt can imitate conscience. It can make you feel that every limit is unkind. It can make you feel that every personal need takes something away from someone else. It can make you feel that every easier path must be morally suspicious. It can make you believe that struggle proves sincerity. Guilt can enter the hallway before you. It can stand in front of the mirror and interpret the face you see. You should be doing more. You should need less. You should be able to manage without anyone. You should not feel tired. You should not ask for better terms. You should accept what is offered and be thankful. You should not disappoint anyone. The word should often hides an old agreement, an agreement you did not examine, an agreement formed when approval felt essential, an agreement formed when harmony depended on your silence, an agreement formed when being useful earned warmth, an agreement formed when asking created tension. You may still be honoring that agreement long after the room in which it was made has disappeared. The mirror gives you a place to review it, not with anger, not with blame, with adult eyes. Does this rule protect dignity? Does it support health? Does it respect reality? Does it make honest relationships possible? Does it leave room for your humanity? A rule that requires you to betray yourself is not sacred merely because it is old. You can appreciate why it formed and still release your loyalty to it. You can acknowledge that it once helped you avoid conflict. You can admit that it now creates conflict inside you. You can thank the younger part of you that learned to survive by pleasing. You can let the person in the glass choose a different way to live. That choice may begin with a boundary so small no one else sees it. You wait before answering. You read the message twice. You check your actual capacity. You stop promising from panic. You stop saying yes only to remove discomfort from the moment. You let silence exist while you think. A pause can protect honesty. It can prevent resentment. It can keep you from offering what you cannot sustain. It can help you hear the difference between desire and pressure. You are permitted to consider. You are permitted to ask when an answer is needed. You are permitted to say that you need more information. You are permitted to decline without turning the other person into an enemy. You are permitted to accept without turning yourself into a debtor. A clean yes does not require fear. A clean no does not require cruelty. The reflection before you can practice both. You can look into your own eyes and say, I will not make promises against you. That sentence carries weight. It means you will not use your future energy to purchase present approval. It means you will not commit your time before consulting your limits. It means you will not call self-neglect kindness. It means you will not offer endless access to prove that you care. It means you will try to keep your word because you are choosing it more honestly. Boundaries are not walls placed against every form of closeness. They are the edges that make trustworthy closeness possible. Without an edge, resentment spreads. Expectations become few and clear. Giving becomes confused with obligation. Support becomes tangled with control. The mirror helps return you to the person responsible for naming the edge. No one else can always know where it is. You may wish that people would sense it. You may hope they will recognize your tiredness. You may wait for them to say that you have done enough. Some will not. Your limit still exists. It does not become less real because someone else does not recognize it. You can name it before anger names it for you. You can speak while your voice is still calm. You can adjust before collapse forces the adjustment. This is another form of welcoming what supports you. Sometimes support is an opportunity. Sometimes it is information. Sometimes it is rest. Sometimes it is a boundary that prevents your energy from being scattered. Sometimes it is a professional who knows what you do not. Sometimes it is a clear agreement. Sometimes it is an honest conversation that ends confusion. Sometimes it is the decision to stop carrying appearances. You may have been taught that strong people never reveal uncertainty. Real strength can say, I need to understand this better. Real strength can say, I made an error. Real strength can say, I cannot continue under these terms. Real strength can say, I need assistance. Real strength can say, I have changed my mind after learning more. The face in the glass does not become weaker when it tells the truth. It becomes easier to trust. Self-trust is not the belief that you will always choose perfectly. It is the knowledge that you will try to stay present when a choice needs repair. You will not hide forever. You will not punish yourself instead of learning. You will not let embarrassment make every decision. You will return. You will look again. You will gather what is true. You will act from there. This is why the hallway greeting matters beyond the first few minutes of the day. It creates a relationship you can return to when pressure rises. You may be far from home. There may be no glass in front of you. Still, you can remember the expression you saw. You can remember that you promised not to let fear speak first. You can ask what the person in that reflection needs from you now. Does that person need facts? Does that person need time? Does that person need guidance? Does that person need to stop explaining? Does that person need to ask for the agreement in clear words? Does that person need to walk away? Does that person need to admit that the current plan is not working? These questions do not guarantee comfort. They restore participation. You are no longer a frightened observer of your own life. You become someone who can respond. Receiving begins there, not in waiting passively for something to rescue you. In becoming able to recognize what is useful without rejecting it from shame, becoming able to take in a kind word. in becoming able to consider a fair opportunity, in becoming able to learn from someone with experience, in becoming able to accept that your needs deserve a place in the plan, in becoming able to let support remain support instead of turning it into a lifelong debt. You may still feel an urge to repay immediately. The urge can be strong. You may want to restore balance before you have even felt the gift. You may rush to offer something back. You may promise too much. You may turn appreciation into obligation. This reaction can prevent care from reaching you. It keeps you in control. It keeps you from being the one who is helped. It keeps you from feeling the vulnerability of being seen. You can slow the reflex. You can say thank you. You can let the moment remain complete. You do not have to create an equal exchange in the same breath. Healthy relationships have movement. Sometimes you give. Sometimes you accept. Sometimes the exchange is immediate. Sometimes it unfolds over time. Sometimes kindness is offered without a ledger. Discernment still matters. You can learn to recognize manipulation. You can ask what is expected. You can refuse gifts used as leverage. You can choose distance when care is not clean. Receiving without guilt does not mean accepting every offer. It means you no longer assume that every offer makes you smaller. You remain an adult with judgment. You remain able to choose. You remain worthy of respect, whether you accept or decline. The mirror does not ask you to become naive. It asks you to stop confusing constant suspicion with wisdom. Wisdom can remain open long enough to examine. It can see detail. It can ask clear questions. It can read what is in front of it. It can hear the tone beneath the words. It can recognize pressure. It can also recognize sincerity. A fearful mind may reject both. A grounded mind can tell them apart more often. This steadiness supports practical life. You can bring it to budgeting. You can bring it to asking for fair payment. You can bring it to learning new skills. You can bring it to reviewing agreements. You can bring it to speaking with qualified professionals. You can bring it to deciding what you can offer. Affirmations walk beside these actions. They do not replace them. A kind sentence does not calculate a plan for you. It can help you stay present long enough to make one. A supportive inner voice does not erase debt, bills, or uncertainty. It can reduce the shame that keeps you from seeking accurate help. A mirror practice does not guarantee a particular outcome. It can remind you that your dignity is not suspended while you work through reality. That distinction protects you from fantasy and despair. Fantasy says you need only feel differently. Despair says nothing you do matters. The truth is more ground, and your circumstances may include factors outside your control. Your choices still matter within the space you do have. Your self-talk can either help you use that space or make it harder to see. You are not responsible for controlling everything. You are responsible for meeting what you can with as much honesty as possible. This may require practical courage. Opening the statement, making the call, requesting the document, reading the terms, seeking advice, changing the arrangement, naming what you need, ending what you can no longer support. None of these actions require you to hate yourself first. You do not need shame as fuel. You do not need panic as proof that you care. You do not need to rehearse disaster before making a responsible choice. The person in the mirror can act from respect. Respect may feel quieter than fear. It can still be firm. It can still meet deadlines. It can still correct mistakes. It can still ask difficult questions. It can still say, "This must change." The difference is that respect does not leave a wound every time it moves you forward. It does not make action dependent on humiliation. It does not tell you that one delayed task reveals your entire character. It deals with the task. It keeps the person intact. There may be days when this seems difficult. The old method may feel faster. Criticism can create a burst of urgency. You may insult yourself into action and believe the insult was necessary. Look more closely. The task may get done. The inner cost remains. You may become more afraid of future tasks. You may avoid them longer because you know what voice will meet you there. You may wait until pressure becomes unbearable. Then the cycle begins again. A respectful approach may feel slower at first because it asks you to learn a new way of starting. Instead of accusation, you use clarity. This needs attention. Instead of catastrophe, you use sequence. I will begin with what I can verify. Instead of identity, you use description. I postponed this because I felt overwhelmed. Instead of punishment, you use repair. I can take the next useful step now. The face in the mirror can believe these statements because they do not pretend. They acknowledge the situation. They preserve movement. They preserve you. If you have a pen and a sheet of paper nearby, let this be the part you return to when you replay these words. You do not need to complete anything elaborate. Let the page become another clear surface. Write one line slowly. I greet the good before fear speaks for me. Leave a little space beneath it. Write, I can examine support without rejecting myself. Leave another space. Write, my needs can be included in honest plans. Then write, I can act responsibly without using shame. Read the 4 lines as though you are speaking to the face you meet each day. Do not rush to make them feel powerful. Let them feel true enough to consider. Circle the line that creates the most resistance. Resistance is not failure. It is information. It may show you where an old agreement is still active. You can ask what that agreement once protected. You can ask what it costs now. You can ask what a more honest rule might sound like. Keep the page. Return to it without turning it into a test. The words are not an exam you must pass. They are a record of the relationship you are choosing to build. The mirror reflects your face. The page reflects your language. Together, they can show you what you are practicing. You may discover that one sentence feels easier after several days. Another may remain difficult. Stay honest. A bridge is useful. I am becoming willing to include my needs in honest plans. I am learning to act responsibly without using shame. I am open to examining support without rejecting myself. These are not lesser statements. They meet you where you are. You do not need to force certainty onto a place that is still healing. You need language that invites movement without creating another demand. The old inner voice made everything a demand. Be better, do more, need less, never fail, never inconvenience anyone, never ask twice, never change your mind. The new voice can be firm without being absolute. Learn, look, ask, choose, repair, rest, return. There is room in these words for being human. There is room for changing circumstances. There is room for insight. There is room for professional guidance. There is room for effort. There is room for support. There is room for an imperfect beginning. This room is not created by ignoring responsibility. It is created by removing unnecessary cruelty from it. When guilt appears, you can meet it in the glass. You can ask whether you have actually caused harm or merely disappointed an expectation. Those are not the same. You can ask whether a repair is needed. If it is, make one. Apologize. Correct. Clarify. Change your behavior. If no harm has occurred, the guilt may belong to an old pattern of pleasing. You can let the feeling pass without reversing a healthy choice. This is difficult at first. A boundary may feel wrong even when it is fair. A fair rate may feel excessive even when it is sustainable. Rest may feel irresponsible even when it improves judgment. Accepting help may feel dangerous even when the terms are clear. The feeling may lag behind the truth. You do not have to wait for complete emotional agreement. You can move with care. You can let experience teach the nervous system what words alone cannot. You set a limit. The relationship survives. You ask for clarity. You are not rejected. You accept a compliment. nothing terrible happens. You seek guidance. You gain understanding. You take a day to decide. The opportunity remains or reveals that it was never safe. You say no. The world continues. Each experience becomes a new reflection. The person in the glass begins to see evidence. You can protect yourself without disappearing. You can be cared for without becoming powerless. You can take responsibility without attacking yourself. You can ask for what is fair without claiming superiority. You can leave room for your own life. This evidence matters more than forced positivity. It is lived. It is specific. It belongs to you. The old rule may still speak. The new experience answers. You do not need to argue endlessly. You can point to what you have learned. I asked. I survived the discomfort. I made a correction. I accepted help. I kept my dignity. I did not abandon myself. That is how self-trust grows, not as a grand feeling, as a collection of kept promises. You promised to look clearly, you did. You promised to ask, you did. You promised not to insult yourself during the process. You caught the old voice and returned. You promised to respect a limit. You did not explain it away. You promised to let a kind word land. You said thank you. The hallway mirror becomes less of an inspection point. It becomes a witness. It sees the person who is learning to keep these promises. It sees the effort no one applauds. It sees the moment you choose not to repeat an old insult. It sees the hesitation before a healthier yes. It sees the steadiness behind a necessary no. It sees you becoming more trustworthy to yourself. You may not feel transformed. You may feel ordinary. Transformation often looks ordinary while it is happening. A different sentence, a different answer, a different decision, a different response to guilt, a different way of returning after a mistake. The face changes through expression before it changes through circumstance. The eyes become less guarded. The jaw softens. The forehead no longer prepares for judgment before the day begins. You start to recognize yourself as someone you do not need to control through fear. That recognition can influence every practical step that follows. You can still be careful. You can still seek advice. You can still revise your plans. You can still protect what matters. You can do all of this from partnership. You and the person in the mirror are not on opposing sides. There is one life here, one voice learning to become dependable, one pair of eyes learning not to turn away, one person learning that receiving support and taking action can belong in the same life. You do not have to choose passivity or strain. You can accept help and contribute. You can learn and decide. You can rest and return. You can be grateful and ask for change. You can care for others and include yourself. You can welcome what is useful and refuse what is not. The reflection can hold all of this. It does not need to flatten you into one role, not the helper, not the struggler, not the responsible one, not the person who never needs anything. You are larger than the role that kept you safe. You can step away from it without losing your goodness. You can become more honest without becoming hard. You can become more open without becoming careless. You can become more supported without becoming dependent on every offer. You can become more confident without pretending certainty. The first words you speak to your reflection help make this possible. They remind you that fear does not own the doorway. They remind you that guilt does not hold the final authority. They remind you that dignity can enter the day first. I greet the good before fear speaks for me. Oh. Then you step away from the glass. You carry your own face with you. You carry the page. You carry the new rule. I will meet what comes without turning against myself. The new rule becomes stronger when it is lived in ordinary moments. It is easy to agree with kind words while listening. The deeper practice begins when the day presents something uncomfortable. A request arrives. A number surprises you. Someone questions your value. A delay tests your patience. An old obligation asks more from you than you can honestly give. You feel the familiar tightening. The inner voice prepares its old response. This is where you remember the hallway. You remember the first face you saw. You remember that you chose not to send that person into the day carrying shame. You do not need to produce instant confidence. You return to respect. You ask what is actually true. You ask what needs attention. You ask what can wait. You ask whether fear is describing the situation or predicting beyond it. That distinction gives you room. A real concern deserves a real response. An imagined conclusion does not deserve automatic obedience. You may need to act. You may need to gather information. You may need to change something. You may also discover that the harshest part of the moment came from the way you spoke to yourself about it. The situation said, "A decision is needed." The old voice said, "You always ruin things." The situation said, "This cost is higher than expected." The old voice said, "You will never feel secure." The situation said, "Someone declined your offer." The old voice said, "Your work has no value." The situation said, "You need assistance." The old voice said, "You are incapable." Facts are specific. Fear often makes them permanent. The mirror greeting teaches you to return to what I see specific. This happened. This needs attention. This is what I know. This is what I do not know. This is the next useful question. Specific language calms the tendency to turn one event into a complete forecast. It restores proportion. It helps you see what can be addressed. You may still feel disappointed. You may still wish the circumstances were easier. Self-respect does not require you to enjoy every fact. It asks you not to use the fact as a reason to attack the person who must respond to it. That person needs your clearest voice. The voice can be warm and direct. We will look at this. We will not pretend. We will not panic before we understand. We will ask for help if help is needed. We will make the next responsible choice we can. This is partnership. The reflection you greeted earlier is no longer being treated as the cause of every difficulty. It is becoming the person who can meet difficulty with you. That shift changes the emotional meaning of practical action. A plan no longer feels like punishment. A boundary no longer feels like rejection. A question no longer feels like proof of ignorance. A correction no longer feels like humiliation. Each becomes an expression of care. You organize because your life deserves clarity. You seek guidance because your future deserves informed decisions. You protect your time because your commitments deserve honesty. You name fair value because sustainable work deserves a clear exchange. You rest because clearer thought deserves a body that has not been driven beyond its limit. These choices are not glamorous. They are trustworthy. They build a form of inner prosperity that can exist before circumstances become ideal. This prosperity is not a claim that every desire will be fulfilled. It is the ability to remain connected to dignity while you work with reality. It is the capacity to see options without demanding certainty. It is the freedom to accept support without translating it into shame. It is the willingness to learn without insulting yourself for not already knowing. It is the courage to say what is true. That inner steadiness can influence what happens next, because it influences how you participate. You listen more carefully. You ask clearer questions. You recognize pressure sooner. You recover from disappointment with less self-destruction. You can stay in a conversation that once would have overwhelmed you. You can leave a conversation that repeatedly diminishes you. You can reconsider an assumption. You can revise a plan. You can make room for another solution. None of this places all responsibility on your thoughts. External conditions are real. Access is unequal. Unexpected events happen. Systems can be unfair. Hard work does not always produce the result it deserves. A healthy inner voice does not deny any of that. It helps you remain your own all. I inside it. You deserve practical compassion, not pity, not denial. Compassion that tells the truth and stays. Compassion that says a hard season is not a moral failure. Compassion that respects effort while admitting when effort needs a different direction. Compassion that knows when expertise is necessary. Compassion that does not turn every setback into a private accusation. You may be rebuilding after choices you regret. You may be recovering from circumstances you did not create. You may be carrying responsibilities that leave little room. You may be learning skills that others were taught much earlier. You may be trying to change a family pattern without much support. The face in the mirror does not need comparison. It needs an honest greeting. You are here. You are learning. You can work with what is available. You can seek more information. You can make one decision at a time. You can stop using another person's timeline as evidence against your own life. Comparison often enters the hallway quietly. You see your reflection, but you are thinking about someone else's image, their progress, their home, their career, their ease, their visible results. You may compare your private uncertainty with their public moment. Then the face in front of you appears inadequate. Return to what the mirror actually shows. One person, one life, one set of circumstances, one next choice. Your path does not become clearer when you stare at someone else's reflection. You can learn from others. You can be inspired. You can ask how something was done. You do not have to turn their result into an insult against your own effort. The hallway mirror is honest about distance. It shows where you stand. It does not show where another person should have placed you. It does not rank faces. The ranking comes from the mind. You can interrupt it. You can say, their progress is information, not a verdict. You can say, I can admire without diminishing myself. You can say, I can learn without becoming ashamed. You can say, my next step still belongs to me. This protects your attention. Attention is valuable. When it is spent entirely on comparison, little remains for your own decisions. When it is spent rehearsing fear, little remains for learning. When it is spent defending against self-criticism, little remains for creativity. You can bring attention home, back to the face, back to the facts, back to the question, back to the choice. This is not selfish withdrawal. It is responsible focus. You cannot make every decision at once. You can meet the one in front of you. You cannot correct every old habit today. You can interrupt the one you hear now. You cannot guarantee what another person will choose. You can decide how clearly you will speak. You cannot control whether every opportunity works. You can decide whether fear will reject it before you understand it. This is enough ground for change. The old voice may call it too small. It prefers dramatic proof. It wants a complete transformation before it is willing to trust the process. Real change often becomes visible through accumulation. A calmer response here, a clearer boundary there, one question asked, one unnecessary apology withheld, one page reviewed without avoidance, one offer considered without self-dismissal, one compliment accepted, one difficult fact faced. These moments collect. The mirror begins to show a person with a different posture. Not because every pressure has vanished, because the person is no longer bending beneath every inner accusation. The eyes stay present. The shoulders carry less apology. The expression does not ask permission to exist. This change may influence how others respond. It may not. The practice remains worthwhile because it changes how you respond to yourself. External approval is welcome when it is healthy. It cannot be the only surface in which you recognize your value. The hallway mirror must not become another place where you wait for someone else's opinion. It belongs to the relationship you have with yourself. You decide the first words. You decide whether the face is met with contempt or companionship. You decide whether today begins with a sentence inherited from fear or a sentence chosen with awareness. The chosen sentence is not a guarantee. It is an orientation. I greet the good before fear speaks for me. You turn toward what may support clarity. You turn toward what strengthens honest action. You turn toward what respects dignity. You turn toward what helps you learn. You turn toward what can be examined. You do not have to chase every possibility. You do not have to call every change good. You do not have to ignore warning signs. You remain thoughtful. The difference is that fear no longer decides before thought begins. That is a quieter kind of freedom. It gives you time to understand. It gives you permission to ask. It gives you room to choose. The following words can settle into that room. Let each one meet the face you know. Let each one remain practical. Let each one be an invitation rather than a demand. I meet myself with respect. I can face what is true. I am willing to learn. I stay present with myself. I choose clarity over shame. I can ask useful questions. I can seek informed support. I respect my real limits. I make commitments with care. I can revise my plans. I learn from every correction. I am more than one Sul. I can welcome honest appreciation. I let kind words reach me. I can name what I need. I can protect my time. I value sustainable effort. I can discuss fair terms. I can think before answering. I trust myself to examine. I can decline without cruelty. I can accept without guilt. I remain discerning and open. I do not owe fear obedience. I can look at the facts. I can take one clear step. I can recover from mistakes. I can return after avoidance. I can choose a better response. I am building self-trust. I include myself in care. I let dignity guide me. I can grow without apology. I can change old agreements. I can release inherited pressure. I can respect my own pace. I welcome useful knowledge. I welcome clean support. I welcome clearer choices. I welcome steadier action. I welcome honest progress. I am open to possibility. I am rooted in reality. I remain on my side. I meet good with wisdom. I move with care. I choose self-respect. I welcome clarity. I trust repair. I keep learning. I stay open. I stay grounded. I stay present. Clear eyes, steady voice, honest choices, open hands, quiet dignity. These words do not need to become a performance. They can pass through you one at a time. Some will feel natural. Some may touch resistance. Some may sound like qualities you are still learning to embody. There is no failure in that. A sentence can be useful before it feels fully familiar. You may hear, "I can accept without guilt," and remember all the times you could not. Do not use the affirmation to accuse yourself. Let it describe a direction. You may hear, "I respect my real limits," and think of the limits you ignored. Let the words call you back without punishment. You may hear, "I can seek informed support," and feel embarrassment. Let the embarrassment exist beside the possibility. The purpose is not to make discomfort vanish. It is to keep discomfort from making every choice. You are teaching the person in the mirror that a feeling can be present without becoming the only authority. Guilt can be present. You can still keep a fair boundary. Fear can be present. You can still ask the question. Uncertainty can be present. You can still gather information. Disappointment can be present. You can still protect your dignity. Hope can be present. You can still remain realistic. This ability to hold more than one feeling is a form of maturity. It keeps you from swinging between forced optimism and complete defeat. You do not need to declare that everything is wonderful. You do not need to decide that nothing can improve. You can stand in the honest middle. Some things are difficult. Some things are changing. Some choices are available. Some support may be appropriate. Some answers will take time. You are still here to meet them. The mirror is useful because it does not rush this truth. It does not show tomorrow's result. It shows the person who will participate in tomorrow. That is enough. You can care for that person today. You can speak in a way that preserves their courage. You can stop using the last hour of the night to rehearse every weakness. You can stop using the first glance of the day to search for evidence against yourself. The two moments can support each other. At the end of the day, you can review without prosecution. At the beginning, you can greet without judgment. The record becomes more balanced. You remember what was difficult. You also remember what you handled. You remember where you hesitated. You also remember where you returned. You remember the mistake. You also remember the repair. You remember the fear. You also remember that fear did not make every decision. This is not selective memory. It is complete memory. The old mind often records only danger because danger once felt most important. You can teach it to include evidence of steadiness. I asked for clarification. I kept one boundary. I accepted one kind word. I looked at one fact. I made one responsible choice. I did not speak to myself with contempt. These moments deserve a place in the record. They teach your inner world that you are not helpless in the presence of discomfort. They show that the person in the mirror is becoming dependable. Dependability is not perfection. It is return. You leave yourself sometimes. You return. You speak harshly sometimes. You correct the tone. You avoid sometimes. You begin again. You give too much sometimes. You review the agreement. You dismiss support sometimes. You reconsider. The return matters. It prevents one old reaction from becoming the final story of the day. You can look back into the hallway glass later and see more than the face you criticized in the morning. You can see the person who lived through the hours, the person who made choices, the person who tried, the pariah son who learned, the person who may need rest, information, forgiveness, or a clearer plan. You can meet that face with the same sentence. I greet the good before fear speaks for me. The good may be what you learned today. The good may be the decision you will make differently tomorrow. The good may be the realization that you cannot continue in the same way. The good may be the support you are finally willing to consider. The good may be the dignity you kept during an uncertain moment. The good may be the fact that you no longer confuse self-punishment with responsibility. Let that be recorded. Let the mirror show a person who is still becoming, a person who does not need to be finished before being treated with care, a person who can meet practical life with clearer eyes, a person who can receive useful help without surrendering judgment, a person who can welcome improvement without demanding guarantees, a person who can remain open and grounded at the same time. This is enough for today, not because nothing else matters, because one honest greeting can accompany many honest actions. The hallway waits, the mirror reflects, the face appears. You stay. You speak with respect. You carry the words forward. What you practice in front of the mirror does not stay in the hallway. It follows you into the choices no one else sees. It is there when you are deciding whether to speak clearly or soften the truth until it disappears. It is there when you are considering whether to accept support. It is there when you are tempted to reduce your value before anyone has questioned it. It is there when guilt tries to turn a necessary boundary into a moral failure. It is there when an old fear attempts to interpret a new possibility. The face you greet becomes the person you accompany. You do not meet that person only once. You meet them in every reaction, every decision, every correction, every return. The practice is not complete because you said the right sentence one morning. It becomes real as you learn to stay beside yourself through an ordinary day. You stay when the answer is delayed. You stay when a plan must change. You stay when someone misunderstands your boundary. You stay when an unexpected expense creates tension. You stay when your work is appreciated. You stay when your work is overlooked. You stay when you feel ready. You stay when you do not. This staying is the opposite of the old pattern. The old pattern withdrew kindness whenever you felt uncertain. It made support conditional. It offered respect only after success. It made one mistake large enough to cover the entire reflection. You are choosing another relationship now. A relationship built on truth. A relationship built on return. A relationship strong enough to face reality. You can still expect effort from yourself. You can still ask yourself to leer. Shush. You can still correct what needs correction. You can still acknowledge consequences. You can do all of that without becoming cruel. Cruelty does not make truth more accurate. Shame does not make a plan more responsible. Fear does not make every decision wiser. You are learning to remove what is unnecessary. The insult is unnecessary. The humiliation is unnecessary. The prediction of permanent failure is unnecessary. The belief that you must suffer before you deserve support is unnecessary. The belief that you must manage alone is unnecessary. The belief that your needs should always come last is unnecessary. You can set those things down. You can keep responsibility. You can keep discernment. You can keep honesty. You can keep care. This is a quieter way to become strong. You no longer need to prove strength by ignoring yourself. You can prove it by listening. You can prove it by speaking clearly. You can prove it by asking for appropriate help. You can prove it by changing direction when the facts ask you to. You can prove it by refusing to make panic the leader of every practical choice. The person in the mirror is not waiting for perfection. That person is waiting for consistency. Not perfect consistency. Reliable return. You will forget. You will remember. You will fall into an old reaction. You will hear it. You will answer. You will walk past the glass without looking. Later, you will return. Nothing is ruined by an imperfect day. The practice remains available. The hallway remains. The reflection remains. Your next words remain yours to choose. You can begin with the sentence you already know. I greet the good before fear speaks for me. Then you can let the sentence become action. You read before assuming. You ask before withdrawing. You consider before refusing. You rest before exhaustion decides for you. You speak before resentment hardens. You seek guidance before shame isolates you. You give yourself time before pressure chooses your answer. This is how openness becomes grounded. It is not passive. It is attentive. It is not careless. It is discerning. It is not a promise that every opening is right for you. It is a promise that you will look with clear eyes. You are capable of looking. You are capable of learning. You are capable of changing your mind. You are capable of protecting yourself without closing yourself to every form of care. You are capable of accepting that a better way may feel unfamiliar at first. The unfamiliar can become practiced. The practiced can become natural. The first greeting may feel awkward. The next may feel quieter. Then one day you may pass the mirror and realize that the old insult did not appear. You may see your face and feel no urgent need to correct it. You may hear a simple inner response. There you are. No judgment, no comparison, no demand, only recognition. That moment may be brief. It still matters. It shows that the record is changing. The last hour no longer needs to contain only worry. The first glance no longer needs to contain only criticism. The two ends of the day can begin to speak differently to each other. At the close of the day, you can remember what you handled. At the beginning, you can remember who handled it. You did. Not perfectly, not alone in every case, not without uncertainty. You still participated. You asked. You learned. You corrected. You endured. You accepted. You declined. You returned. Let that be part of the record. Let your mind remember more than danger. Let it remember dignity. Let it remember the boundary you kept. Let it remember the help you considered. Let it remember the question you asked. Let it remember the moment you did not call yourself a failure. Let it remember the practical step you took while still feeling afraid. This is evidence, not evidence that every difficulty is over. Evidence that you can remain present. Evidence that you can respond. evidence that you can learn another way. Your future does not need a perfect version of you. It needs a version of you who is willing to stay awake to the truth without turning truth into punishment. It needs a version of you who can see support and examine it. A version of you who can see a limit and respect it. A version of you who can see an opportunity and consider it without self-dismissal. A version of you who can see a mistake and repair it without surrendering all dignity. That version is already appearing. You have met that face. You have heard that voice. It is steadier now. It does not shout. It does not need to. It speaks clearly. I am here. I can look. I can learn. I can ask. I can choose. I can repair. I can return. The words become shorter because they no longer need to argue with every fear. They do not need to win a debate. They only need to remain available. I am here. I stay. I look clearly. I choose carefully. I respect myself. I welcome support. I keep discernment. I ask questions. I learn. I adjust. I begin again. The mirror reflects. You do not retreat. The old voice speaks. You do not obey automatically. Guilt appears. You examine it. Fear appears. You listen for facts. Support appears. You look at the terms. A boundary appears. You honor it. A choice appears. You make it as honestly as you can. This is enough. Enough for one day. Enough for one decision. Enough for one return. You do not have to solve your whole life in front of the glass. You only need to meet the person who will take the next step. Meet that person with respect. Meet that person with honesty. Meet that person without rehearsing defeat. Meet that person without demanding proof. Meet that person before the world begins naming what is urgent. Let your own voice arrive first. Let it be steady. Let it be kind. Let it be true. I greet the good before fear speaks for me. Good may be clarity. Good may be courage. Good may be a fair limit. Good may be a practical answer. Good may be informed help. Good may be the willingness to look again. Good may be the refusal to abandon yourself. Welcome that. Let it count. Let it stay. You are not required to chase every possibility. You are learning not to block every possibility through fear. You are not required to feel certain. You are learning to act with care while certainty is incomplete. You are not required to become fearless. You are learning that fear does not deserve the first word. You are not required to accept every offer. You are learning that clean support can be considered without shame. You are not required to approve of every past choice. You are learning to repair without hatred. This is how the hallway changes, not in its walls, not in its light, not in the glass, in the greeting, in the eyes that remain, in the voice that no longer turns away. The mirror shows the same person. You recognize someone new, someone who can welcome good without surrendering wisdom, someone who can face pressure without becoming their own punishment, someone who can ask for help without losing dignity, someone who can act responsibly without living under constant accusation, someone who knows that being supported and being capable are not opposites, someone who is ready to participate more fully in their own life. You do not need to announce this change. Live it. Let it appear in your answers. Let it appear in your boundaries. Let it appear in the questions you finally ask. Let it appear in the support you no longer reject from reflex. Let it appear in the way you speak after a mistake. Let it appear in the way you greet your own face. There will be moments when the old habit tries to bargain with you. It may agree to kindness only after you have completed everything. It may agree to rest only after no one needs you. It may agree to confidence only after every risk has disappeared. It may agree to fair treatment only after everyone approves. This bargain keeps respect forever out of reach because the conditions can always move. One more task, one more proof, one more person to satisfy, one more reason to wait. The person in the glass does not need another moving condition. That person needs a standard that remains steady when the day is unsettled. I will speak to myself with dignity while I work. I will tell the truth without making myself smaller. I will face consequences without turning them into a sentence against my whole life. I will make room. I will room for informed help. I will not call exhaustion a virtue when it is asking for attention. These promises are within your authority. They do not depend on anyone agreeing with you. They do not depend on a perfect outcome. They do not require the world to become predictable. They ask you to become more dependable in the way you meet yourself. Dependability can appear when you are reviewing a decision that did not work. The old response may rush to hide the evidence. It may avoid the conversation. It may delay the correction because embarrassment feels unbearable. A steadier response can say, I need to understand what happened. You can separate the event into parts. What did you know at the time? What did you assume? What warning did you overlook? What changed after the choice was made? What can be repaired? What must be accepted? What would you do differently with what you know now? These questions keep the reflection clear. They do not excuse harm. They do not erase responsibility. They turn regret toward learning instead of endless punishment. Punishment keeps you staring at the worst moment. Learning lets you face it and move. You can carry the lesson without carrying a permanent identity built from the mistake. The person in the mirror is not the mistake. The person in the mirror is the one who can understand it, the one who can apologize, the one who can repair what is possible. the one who can establish a new boundary, the one who can seek better information next time, the one who can refuse to repeat the same pattern merely because shame made reflection too painful. This is how you become safer for yourself, not by promising that you will never fail, by promising that failure will not make you disappear from your own care. There will also be moments when something works. That can be uncomfortable in a different way. You may search for the flaw before acknowledging the progress. You may tell yourself it was accidental. You may prepare for loss before the good moment has even settled. You may worry that appreciation will make you complacent. You may refuse to enjoy what is stable because you fear that enjoyment will tempt fate. The mirror can teach you to remain present for progress too. You can say, "This went well." You can say, "My effort contributed." You can say, "I am thankful for the support involved." You can say, "I can learn from what worked." You can let satisfaction be information. It tells you what is worth continuing. It shows where skill has grown. It reveals which relationships feel clean. It shows which structures support clearer choices. It gives your mind evidence that not every open door must be followed by danger. You do not have to turn a good result into a guarantee. You can let it be one good result, complete in itself, worth recognizing, worth learning from, worth carrying without apology. This balanced reflection matters. If you record only what went wrong, your inner picture becomes distorted. If you record only what went well, your inner picture becomes fragile. A trustworthy record holds both: the difficult fact, the useful response, the missed sign, the new understanding, the disappointment, the courage that remained, the support that helped, the boundary that became clear. A complete record does not flatter you. It does not condemn you. It teaches you. The hallway mirror offers the same kind of completeness. It shows your face as it is in that moment. You may look rested. You may look worn. You may feel hopeful. You may feel guarded. You do not need to turn any of these states into a prophecy. They are part of the current reflection. They are not the final definition. You can meet a tired face without saying that life will always be exhausting. You can meet an uncertain face without saying that you are incapable. You can meet a hopeful face without demanding that hope prove itself immediately. You can meet a proud face without accusing it of arrogance. You can let a state be a state. Then you can choose the next response. This is emotional accuracy. It protects you from extremes. It keeps one difficult feeling from covering every useful fact. It keeps one encouraging feeling from replacing careful thought. You become more capable of staying in the middle where wise action often begins. The middle is not dull. It is stable. It is where you can hold hope and caution together. It is where you can desire change and respect the work involved. It is where you can accept assistance and keep your judgment. It is where you can value yourself and remain willing to improve. It is where you can acknowledge limits without defining yourself by them. This middle ground gives your choices a firmer base. When an offer arrives, you do not have to answer from excitement or suspicion alone. You can ask what it requires. You can ask whether it fits your values. You can ask whether the terms are clear. You can ask what support would be available. You can ask what would need to change in your current commitments. You can ask whether the cost is sustainable. Then you can choose. A thoughtful yes is not fearlessness. A thoughtful no is not failure. Both can arise from self-respect. When someone challenges your boundary, the mirror can help you remember that discomfort does not cancel the boundary. Their disappointment may be real. Your limit may also be real. Their preference may matter. Your capacity matters too. You can listen without surrendering your answer. You can revise when new information truly changes the situation. You do not have to revise merely because another person is unhappy. This may be one of the hardest forms of staying beside yourself. Approval once felt like safety. Disapproval may still feel like danger. Your body may react before your reasoning catches up. Your voice may shake. Your thoughts may race. You may want to take the boundary back. The shaking does not make the words untrue. You can remain respectful. You can repeat the clear part. You can end the conversation when it becomes unproductive. You can return to the face in the glass and remind yourself that a difficult reaction is not proof that you acted wrongly. Review the facts. Repair what needs repair. Keep what is fair. This is how dignity develops substance. It becomes more than a comforting idea. It becomes a way of making decisions under pressure. It becomes the voice that says, I will listen and I will not erase myself. It becomes the posture that says, I can care without surrendering my whole capacity. It becomes the clarity that says, I can be responsible for my part without taking ownership of every feeling in the room. The same clarity can guide you when you need to ask for something. You may rehearse the request many times. You may soften it until the need is barely visible. You may apologize before speaking. You may prepare to accept less before the discussion begins. Return to the greeting. Meet your eyes. Ask what would be honest. Name the request in plain words. Explain what is relevant. Leave out the apology for existing. You are not forcing agreement. You are making clear participation possible. Another person may accept. They may decline. They may offer a different arrangement. Your worth does not rise or fall with the immediate answer. The value of speaking clearly includes the fact that you no longer had to hide from your own need. That is progress, even when the outcome asks for another plan. There will be times when you need to walk away. Not every agreement can be repaired. Not every relationship becomes healthier because you explain more carefully. Not every opportunity deserves continued effort. Leaving can bring grief. It can bring doubt. It can bring practical difficulty. It can still be the honest choice. The mirror can hold the face of someone who is grieving and choosing at the same time. You do not have to turn pain into proof that the decision was wrong. You can miss what was familiar and still protect what is necessary. You can feel uncertain and still move toward clearer ground. You can honor what was good without returning to what repeatedly harmed your dignity. This is not a dramatic escape. It is a measured return to yourself. A return to the standard you are building. Clean terms, honest effort, respectful speech, sustainable care, room for truth, room for guidance, room for change. You may not always know what the next arrangement should be. You can know what you no longer wish to repeat. That knowledge is useful. It narrows the path. It protects attention. It helps you identify the questions that must be answered before you commit again. The person in the mirror becomes a source of continuity during these changes. Circumstances may shift quickly. Roles may change. Plans may be revised. The reflection reminds you that there is still someone here who can observe, learn, ask, and choose. You are not only what has changed around you. You are also the relationship you maintain within you. That relationship can become a quiet home, not a place where difficulty is denied, a place where difficulty can be brought without fear of humiliation, a place where success can be brought without immediate suspicion, a place where a request can be formed, a place where a boundary can be rehearsed, a place where regret can become instruction, a place where support can be examined, a place where you are not required to earn the right to be heard. The hallway becomes familiar in a new way. You no longer hurry past the glass because you expect an attack. You no longer search only for what should be fixed. You see the whole face. You see the eyes that have watched many seasons pass. You see the mouth learning a different language. You see the posture becoming less apologetic. You see the person who is capable of making one clear choice today. That is enough to begin. You may place your attention on the expression rather than the surface details. What is the face asking for? Clarity? Encouragement? Rest? A firm decision? A truthful conversation? A practical plan? The answer does not need to become a ritual. It can become a useful check before you enter the day. What do I need to remember about how I will treat myself? What fact must I face? What support might be appropriate? What limit needs respect? What step is mine? Then let the questions end. Carry one answer, not 10. One answer you can live. I will ask clearly. I will review the facts. I will not promise beyond my capacity. I will seek informed guidance. I will let appreciation stand. I will repair without humiliation. A single honest intention can guide many small choices. It can help you recognize the moment when the old response is taking over. It can give you a phrase to return to without creating pressure to perform. You are not trying to control the entire day from the hallway. You are choosing how you will enter it. The rest will ask for flexibility. You will meet information you did not have. You will encounter other people's needs and choices. You will adjust. The greeting is not a rigid script. It is a commitment to remain in respectful contact with yourself while you adjust. That contact matters when the day becomes busy. Busyness can make old habits automatic. You may answer too quickly. You may forget your limit. You may agree from momentum. When you recognize it, stop adding punishment. Return to the current moment. What can still be changed? What conversation is needed? What commitment can be clarified? What lesson should be carried forward? The return can happen without drama. A message revised, a request clarified, a schedule adjusted, a no spoken later than you wished, but spoken, a mistake acknowledged before it grows, a professional contacted, a plan placed on paper. These are signs of participation. They show that you are no longer waiting to become flawless before acting with care. You act from the person you are now, the person who knows more than before, the person who can still learn, the person who deserves a voice in their own life. The mirror does not ask you to become someone else. It asks you to stop greeting yourself as though someone else would be more worthy of your care. This face is the one you have. This voice is the one you can shape. This day is the one you can enter. This choice is the one before you. Stay close to what is real. Stay close to what is yours. Let the rest unfold without turning uncertainty into self-rejection. You can meet a closed door and remain worthy. You can meet an open door and remain discerning. You can meet a delay and remain active where action is possible. You can meet support and remain whole. You can meet pressure and remain honest. You can meet yourself and remain kind. That is the record you are creating now. Not a record of perfect outcomes. A record of faithful returns. You looked, you stayed. You spoke clearly. You respected the limit. You asked for help. You learned. You chose again. The reflection remembers. Your posture remembers. Your next response is shaped by what you practiced. The change moves quietly, from greeting to thought, from thought to question, from question to choice, from choice to evidence, from evidence to trust. You do not need to rush it. You do need to keep meeting yourself with truth, with steadiness, with dignity, with room to grow. The first words do not need to solve the day. They only need to stop the old wound from speaking as though it is the only truth. You may still carry concern. Concern can become preparation. You may still carry doubt. Doubt can become a reason to ask. You may still carry grief. Grief can exist beside wise movement. You may still carry hope. Hope can remain grounded in patience and action. Nothing in you has to be exiled before you are permitted to move forward. The anxious part can be heard without being placed in charge. The tired part can be cared for without deciding the future. The disappointed part can be comforted without closing every opening. The cautious part can help you examine details without turning every detail into danger. You become the one who listens to all of them and chooses from the clearest place available. That place may not feel powerful. It may feel quiet. It may sound like a plain sentence. I will look again. I will ask before I assume. I will not reduce myself to this moment. I will take the next honest step. Plain sentences are strong when they can be lived. They stay with you after inspiration fades. They return during the difficult call. They remain while you read the terms. They steady you while you name the limit. They remind you to seek accurate help rather than hiding in shame. They keep the reflection connected to action. This is the companionship you are creating. Not endless praise, not excuses, not demands disguised as motivation. Companionship. The willingness to be present with yourself while something is unresolved. The willingness to tell yourself the truth and still offer respect. The willingness to see your own face without making it carry every fear inherited from the past. You can leave those fears in the record as things you once learned. You do not have to keep signing your name beneath them. A new signature is forming through your choices. Clearer, kinder, more responsible, more open, more yours. The day begins. You pass the mirror, you see yourself, you stay, you speak, you rise. I rise, greeting good with clear eyes. Carry that vow into the day. Keep rising. Life is with you. The face ahead of you is finally met with kindness.